And here we are. Welcome. It's Shane, and this is Unbiased and on the Fence. And we do have a special guest for you guys today. You would not believe this. The mother of the Matrix and Terminator, you guys. We're so excited to have Sophia Stewart with us. And I want to have Eileen actually do a more proper intro while I roll some pictures here.
Awesome. Hey guys, this is really cool. I am doing an intro off the top of my head because I have been following Sophia Stewart for about 3 to 4 years now, and I watch all of her videos and interviews. I've read all of her articles and her books and her scripts, and I am just a super big fan. So this is a very special day for me, and I told Sophia about how special you guys are, how open-minded and truly into awakening consciousness. So this is going to be an amazing chit-chat today. And Sophia Stewart, from what I know, wrote a book and a script treatment called The Third Eye in the 1980s. I saw it copyrighted all the way back to 1981. And from what I've read, she turned that into the Wachowski brothers, or today the Wachowski sisters, who then said that they were the creators of The Matrix. But interestingly, another movie franchise came out of the same script, The Third Eye, in the same book, called The Terminator. And both of those stories are part of Sophia Stewart's story. When you get the whole story, you see how those two movie franchises, each have many, many films in the franchise, actually relate to one another. So you've got, after a dystopian future and a nuclear war, you've got the rise of the machines. I'm just going to do a really brief. I know everybody's seen these movies a million times. You got the rise of the machines, which are kind of like androids, and they're fighting the humans for control. But then you step into the Matrix once the machines win, and now you've got AI involved and keeping humans in a state where they're happy. So they're given this false matrix of, oh, I got a job, I got a house, I've got kids. It's a false matrix so that their energy can still be used to keep the machines going with AI. So that's a real brief synopsis of what The Third Eye is about. But I was amazed to also find in Sophia Stewart's work, remember, copyrighted 1981, the Hunger Games. There's a point in the story before The Matrix and after Terminator where there's only two levels to society. The uber, uber, uber wealthy and rich at the top, very few, and the rest who are living in poverty and hunger. And to keep the population down, we know that the Hunger Games movie hosts the Hunger Games. That part isn't in The Third Eye, but what is the fact that they're living in a domed city protected from, the world's paupers and, what that brings, disease, starvation, whatever. So I see 3 movie franchises in your work, Sophia. And just a real quick recap, she has been fighting as her own representative legal counsel, although I do know you hired lawyers later. Everybody involved in Hollywood with The Matrix and The Terminator to reclaim her stories. And I've read that she sent the script off to the Wachowski brothers in a competition, but they can't find it. I read court documents in 2005 where Hollywood tried to shut her down and say you have no grounds to pursue a copyright claim against the directors, the producers, the writers, etc. And she won that court case, which said, yes, you have proven grounds to pursue a court case. And then it gets a little bit murky by 2014. Some people are reporting that the Wachowski brothers and Cameron, the director, that they won, and others are reporting that Sophia Stewart won. So it's very murky ground, and today Sophia is going to kind of clear it up and let us know what the outcome was. And we're going to talk about her new book and her new script called Matrix 4, The Evolution, Cracking the Genetic Code. So after all of that, Sophia, welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm so happy that we've got you here.
Wait, did we lose you?
Yes, yeah, I got it unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Hi, you guys. I wanted to clear some stuff up. Mother of the Matrix is a tagline to identify me with my brand. Um, People have tags all the time, especially people in the music industry.
Yeah.
Jay Z and Diddy and all of them use tags to identify them with their brand. I am actually the creator and owner of The Matrix and Terminator, and the four Oscars that The Matrix won in 1999, or they are my Oscars. They belong to me. And I also want to clear up another point that my copyrights are actually 81, 83, and 84. Three copyrights before the Terminator movie came out, October the 26th, 1984. These three copyrights precedes the Terminator movie, and The Matrix was first released March the 31st, 1999. I also want to clear up another misconception. The Andy and Larry Wachowskis are males; they are not females. So the LGBT community needs to recognize that, because when I had them in court, their attorneys could not produce any legal name changes, nor could they produce any sex changes, because that has to go into the courts in order to be
Gotcha.
addressed. In order to be addressed as females, you have to, but they can't even get a legal name change because they committed a federal crime. They counterfeited, they and James Cameron and the rest of them counterfeited copyrights. Because whenever you make a derivative, and that's what our movies are, they're derived from a source. The source being the Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book, because I'm talking about the third eye. The eye of God is the third eye, because on earth we have two eyes. I'm talking about the evolutions of consciousness, because man have evolved consciously as we go in farther into the future. And I'm talking about the second coming of the Christ. JC, John Connor, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. And Neo is an anagram for the one. Neone. So John the Revelator is the only one to call Jesus the one. So my epic story begins with the Terminator, Terminator End Time Revelations. Because in Revelations, it says that the Christ consciousness will be born again. And of course, the mother and the future or the past will be Sarah Connor. Sarah
Right.
Connor will be the mother. The machines in the future know that Sarah Connor is going to birth this baby that's going to destroy them when they enslave mankind. So they need to time travel, because it's talking about past, present, and future time travel, because the Bible is set up that way. When you look in the Bible at the Old Testament, that's our past. When you look at the New Testament, that's our presence right here, right now, where Jesus is laying out the laws and teaching the laws so you can live in the present. And when you go to Revelations, that is what one will become, the future. So Revelation is revealing the future, but we can only see so much of the future, and the rest is left up to God to reveal the rest of that future to us.
That's a
So
great summary of all movies in those um, franchises. Can you tell people who you based Neo on? Because I think that's really cool.
yeah, well, a lot of people didn't know this, but white science fiction had no black leadership whatsoever. It only maybe had one or two black people, basically one, and they would die out the first 10 minutes of the movie, but they had no leadership role in white science fiction. In fact, a lot of white fans got very, very upset and very angry when Star Wars introduced this young black male actor as a starring role in, I think, 2015. It might have been 2015 or 2016. But if you go back and you look at all the white science fiction, uh, it is the white man that is the hero who is saving the world. It is Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man,
Yeah.
and Rocky. Rocky, the boxer, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky saving the world. So I introduced and I was talked about in the Los Angeles Sentinel, and you can look this up, go into the archives, because I'm at USC. I have a degree in journalism, a double major in law and psychology. I'm at grad school. I'm at my classmates is Marcus Allen, Ronnie Lott, those former pro football players that everybody knows about, their future accomplishments, and James Sinclair, August Curley, Dennis Johnson, and the Moore brothers. But one of my boyfriends was the late Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 38 years old. He was way older than me, of course, but younger women, he has a history of that. Everybody knows. And I meet him through one of his bodyguards and became engaged to marry him. And my Muslim name is Sonia Ali because Muslims can marry you besides a contractual government marriage. They can marry you in a Muslim ceremony as long as they can provide for more than one wives. So I was with Muhammad Ali from 1980 to 1983, and we were in the news. And he introduced me to many prominent people. So he was a living black superhero, which
Yeah.
was phenomenal. He was iconic. I mean, well loved around the whole entire globe, this man, and very captivating, an ancient soul full of wisdom and life, and just I cannot even explain to you like no other being I've ever met upon the earth. And he saw that I was this prolific writer and a master writer, and I've been writing ever since I was in grade school. With my first writing experience came from a college professor, and I'm also a prodigy. A prodigy meaning a person that's well gifted in many types of math, a polymath like Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci. I didn't even do any high school. I took the New York Regents and got the diploma, went into college and got the degree. And they told me I could get my master's and my bachelor's at the same time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are familiar with geniuses because there's tons of geniuses, but their prodigies are very rare because they are well versed in numbers, math. They are code breakers. Beautiful Mind, the movie Beautiful Mind. And then
Yeah.
you'll see this little young girl that's 12 years old, and she's getting her degree, and she's going to go work for NASA because she's prolific. She's a prodigy. She's prolific in math. And it's all these kids that get these degrees, and they're 12, 14, 17, and different ages. Just wanted to give people a kind of idea who these people are and how this work came about.
So you're in California, you're at the University of California, right? In the early 80s, you're dating Muhammad Ali, this amazing real hero, real life hero that appeals to everybody, black, white, rich, poor, brown, red, it doesn't matter. Everybody loves Muhammad Ali. And he inspired the character of Neo, who literally is going to save the world as the one against the machines and against AI. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct. And the late Julian Bond, when he saw The Matrix, he congratulated me for giving these black superheroes. Because when you look in The Matrix, the agents are the white guys, they're the bad guys. Because
Mm-hmm.
science fiction, the white guy is never the bad guy. He is the hero saving the world. And look at all these black people that are in leadership role, which is unheard of in a movie. But look at The Matrix.
Oh yeah, the Matrix herself. What was her name? The Oracle.
The
The
Oracle,
Oracle is you, basically. It's based on
that's
you.
right. It is based on my real life as a visionary seer because my bloodline is Portuguese and native Cherokee, and my grandmother was a shaman, and she came from the Indian reservations of Missouri, and she was a shaman, and so she had the gift. And in my Portuguese blood, I'm pretty sure there's something there too, because on both sides, my mom and my father's side, both sides have the Portuguese and the native identically.
Well, the Portuguese, if you look up the Cathars, when the Knights Templars were executed in France in 1305 or 1306 on Friday the 13th, which is what started that myth of that's a bad day, they only killed 500. 3,500 escaped to Portugal and started the secret. It was an Illuminati wisdom school called the Cathars. And they, of course, then moved to Scotland and created the Freemasons that started America. So the history of the Portuguese secret societies is fascinating.
And I was going to tell you something. Do you know that I was actually mentored by the Illuminatis when I was 7, 8, and 9 years old, the Rosicrucians?
There you go.
And they knew all about me, because you can never rise to this iconic level unless you have a, Masonic and
bloodline. Yeah, the bloodline.
Bloodlines. That's right. And the Rothschilds are fans of mine, and Leo Zagami from Italy. These are Illuminatis. And I also have like mobster fans, the American gangsters, Frank Lucas. He's the late Frank Lucas, and his wife and his son, and those American gangsters in New York, and the ones here in Vegas. They had their lawyers. They've set up a private.
So we better be nice to you today, huh?
Oh, well, hey. Because people love my work. And
I do love your work, yeah.
In Terminator, they want to meet you. So the mafia here that owns all these casinos and corporations, they wanted to meet me. They had their attorney set up a private meet for me to meet them. But they meet every celebrity that comes to Vegas. If you're going to work in Vegas, believe me, you have to meet them.
I believe it, yeah.
It's absolutely the truth. Listen, I'm speaking absolutely the truth.
Well, let's also say, remember, Will Smith turned down the role of Neo. Not many people know that. Did you know? You know that Will Smith was offered the role of Neo, and he's like, no, I got my TV show, I got my movies, I got my songs. He was producing music.
Well, he did not understand anything that Andy and Larry Wachowski was saying to him. They couldn't explain work to him because they don't know what I wrote. It was so far into the future. They had no idea what it was. And I put it into a little science fiction story, not a religious story.
Yeah.
Science fiction story that's talking about math. So they had no idea what they had stolen. James Cameron, Gail and her, they had no idea at all what they were getting ready to launch upon the world. But I did. I was instructed to put it in a mathematical formula in a science fiction story.
Where'd you get your instruction from? Was that your higher self or channeling, or kind of like, you know how prophets used to hear God and see God and angels?
I was not doing any channeling, no crystal gazing, no mediumship, no talking to the dead, no tarot cards, no voodoo, none of this stuff that people do out there. I was not doing any of that. That all goes against my principles and spirituality with God. No, I was told inspirationally. I was inspired inspirationally and told from, inspiration what to do, what to write, what needed to be done. Just like when I won the lawsuit against several law firms and 4 attorney law firms that I sued that sabotaged my California case. I beat all of them. One law firm had over 100 attorneys, and I only have 20 credits in law. So what does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I'm prolific in law that they don't even have never studied.
And you represented yourself through most of this, right?
That's right. Well, for 3 years, I represented myself, or 3.5 years. I had to fire my attorneys. They were on for 4 years, I think, or 3.5 years, and I was on for the other 3.5. And I fired them because they were, again, sabotaging me in the Utah case, Utah federal, because I only go into the federal courts. My first case was a RICO case because what happened was the government failed to protect my rights to due process of the law. They knew that these people counterfeited copyrights and they did nothing about it. They investigated it, they validated it. When the U.S. Attorney General was going to prosecute, that's when they did nothing. They hid my case right now under some codes so other law enforcement could not come in there and look at everything.
Is that still going on? Sophia, are you still in the process of trying to prove your position in court, or is it over, done?
No. Listen, I've already proved that and already entered in all the evidence. I own the copyrights to all the movies. I own the copyrights to all the derivatives, everything, the characters, everything that was Matrix or Terminator. I own it. And it was all entered into the courts. That's why you do not see any more Matrix or Terminator. Yeah, you're hearing it, but they keep lying because they can't do it. The feds have told them, it's counterfeiting. See, once you enter everything into a federal court and the judges, 2 federal judges come back with the ruling, and you read the ruling that, yeah, the Matrix movies and Terminator movies is one with the Third Eye book and copyrights. And they stole a lot of stuff out of the book, not just the game, the one you just got through speaking about. The Transformers came out of there, and the graphics, and the logo.
The Hunger Games.
Yeah, the Hunger Games came out of there. Total Recall, Predator, and I'm talking X-Files, Stargate, and we're talking about Dark City. These people use graphics and logos
that you drew. I saw those with the pyramids. Somehow the pyramids are involved in the Stargates, and then pyramids above pyramids, especially in your latest book, Matrix 4, The Evolution, Cracking the Genetic Code.
No, listen, the pyramid above the pyramid was not a pyramid. That was a ship. And those ships are explained because they come from Orion's belt. And they're the capstone, the missing capstones, but they're ships. Mm-hmm. And you saw this the first time in Stargate, and it came directly right out of my book. And Predators and the detonators, all of that. X-Files, when you go in there, look for the logos, because when you get the book, the fans were like, oh my God, look at what movies came out of here. Because if you look at the other movies in Selfless, which is soulless.
I haven't seen that one.
Have
you seen that, Shane?
I Am Legend,
no, I haven't.
Robot, all of these movies. That's why you don't see any more stuff on them, because you can't continue. You can steal a Picasso and take Picasso's name off, but you can't paint a Picasso. You can't ever paint another Picasso if you're not Picasso.
So can Shane throw up a poster now? And let's tell our listeners, you guys, The Third Eye by Sophia Stewart is available on Amazon. But also The Matrix 4, The Evolution, Cracking the Genetic Code, which hasn't been made yet, that's also available on Amazon. And both of those are clearly copyrighted by Sophia Stewart. They've got pictures from the original.
They're both linked below too as well.
Oh, good. They're linked below.
Yeah, below the video.
You guys can actually read what Sophia is sharing with us today, because that's available on Amazon, which proves that nobody's trying to pull those off, Sophia. Those are yours and nobody can touch them. But my question is, because Time Magazine, they say that nobody showed up for the final hearing, so the court case was dismissed without a verdict. I'm like, what?
RICO case. That was the old California 2003 RICO case. A RICO case means racketeering influence corrupt organization. It was what they used to put the mob, like John Gotti and Al Capone and Bertie Madoff and Whitey Bulger. These people were put under the RICO Act and the RICO law to put them in prison for racketeering. So I filed one myself, being well versed in law. I filed the RICO case myself, and they were going to go to jail because my first judge was Terry Hatter Jr. The late Johnny Cochran came to me and asked to do my case, but of course
Wow.
died. But he told me Hatter was a very good judge that would bend over backwards to make sure I got justice. And these people sabotaged Judge Hatter by hiring his son. His son is an attorney, and the judge had to recuse himself off. They went and got their girl, Margaret Morrow, who had worked with one of my law firm's attorneys, Jonathan LaBelle from New York. And she had worked with these people on the other side, so she should have recused herself. And all they did was they didn't win anything, and I didn't lose anything because I was trying to get them put in jail. It wasn't about who owned anything. They already knew I owned it, and I knew I owned it because the copyrights precedes anything they've ever done.
Did they ever give you financial damages? Did you ever get financial justice?
$3.5 billion in liens. I own all of their properties, which I can liquidate right now.
Wow.
And almost $500,000 in attorney fees.
Wow.
Yeah, no, no, believe me, I got them.
What is going on, Sophia, on the internet? There's this crazy thing about you and your name and the works that you did saying, don't believe it, it isn't true, she didn't write it. And I'm like, who's putting that out?
Well, they got all these trolls out there for the public. Now, people who are conscious beings and people who are on a higher level, like I told you, the very wealthy, the very intellectual, the celebrities, and people like yourself, you and Shane, all you guys know the truth. It is just the people that are on a lower conscious level, and they don't really go into the news, or they don't pay any attention to the news or know how to research the news. They're just telling them all of these lies, but all they're doing is making controversy. And like Tupac says, love me or hate me, you're still going to buy me. You're still going to see, hey, I want to know if it's a lie or if it's the truth.
Right.
You're right. That controversy just made me find you. Because of it, I found you. If there was no controversy, we wouldn't be having this chat today. So they're doing you a favor.
Oh, they're doing more than a favor. That controversy is the biggest thing that sales, because I had taught advertisement and marketing by the late Alfred Berger, and he was phenomenal. And so controversy sells greater than if you were trying to promote me. Do you know controversy is the #1 selling if you want to sell something in America, because on the news is nothing but bad stuff happening. And their minds have been, programmed from that to look for the worst and to investigate. And they made everybody Sherlock Holmes and Perry Masons and Columbos. So now they want to go out there and research the truth, which is excellent. I love it. Because it doesn't matter, because Matrix and Terminator are brands. Do you know a brand is just like Apple and Microsoft? They got a fan base that are tied to them, 2 to 3 billion people globally. So every day, somebody is going to buy Matrix and Terminator. Every day, somebody is going to look at the movies and want to know what is the answer, what is going on. And when you go on the Google me, it's going to tell you that I own the copyrights to the Matrix and Terminator. You can Google right now, Shane, and it will tell you. And I love it. I love them talking about me, talking bad about
Smack.
me.
Yep, about you. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say that? I think so.
Guess what? That's going to make them know my name. They know my name around the entire world. They may not know my face, which they did me a favor. Because once people know your name and your face, you'll never have a life. Did you hear what I just said?
You can go out and have dinner somewhere and not be mobbed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You will never have a life. But if they know your name and they don't know your face, you can do like Howard Hughes. You can go anywhere you want and enjoy yourself and enjoy the money.
No, that's great. Okay, so we've got the Oracle here. We have got the creator of the Terminator, the Matrix, and a lot of other science fiction movies. Hey, what about all this dystopian, dark, scary, post-war, apocalyptic? What, when you look at the current situation of what we're going through now with lockdowns and, you know, this drive to vaccinate the entire human population, and some people are saying that's going to put people on 5G, and that's where your cryptocurrency goes into the bloodstream. You know, I don't know if you're following biometric ink,
Probably
graphene
shouldn't. Yeah.
oxide.
Well, I'm not following it.
That's like five no words on a row there. You don't want to say too
Well,
many.
I don't. You think they'll pull us off because we're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
probably shouldn't
rewind.
trigger
You
too
don't
many.
want to
Yeah,
talk
just the
about
current state of affairs. Let's
The
just put
current
it there.
state of affairs. A lot of people are tying the current state of affairs with AI going into the human body. So, as the mother of the Matrix and the Oracle, what do you see the current state of affairs tying into the Matrix?
Well, I want people to get the book, the Matrix 4 book, which Warner Brothers them offered me $30 million for the shooting script. And when they couldn't get it, that's when they came out with the garbage, or, trying to come up with some other garbage, which got shut down because they can't release it. They can make all the movies in the world, but trying to release it to sell is the problem of counterfeiting. I am talking in the Matrix 4 Evolution book, which you have already read.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is that you need virtual reality companies. Virtual reality is big, virtual companies, because we're going into the virtual world. And I try to tell people that, the Matrix 4 book has been out 11 years, read around the globe with all the fans. I've been satisfying them for 11 years.
So, are you happy with AI going into organic human beings?
Well, no. Listen what I'm saying. Listen very well what I'm saying. This is prophecy. It has nothing to do with me or you. This is prophecy, and because you and Shane and others out there that's listening to me, you have free will. So you don't have to participate. You don't have to do anything that you do not want. No one can take your free will from you. Mm-hmm. Listen very carefully. They can scare you out of it. They can buy it from you. They can trick you out of it. They can do all kinds of stuff towards you.
Even bribe you now.
Today, you don't have to give it up.
Right.
You know what? That's what the Oracle constantly teaches Neo. When he gets to the Oracle, she is always saying, wait a minute, how much power does Agent Smith really have? Neo has to learn his own power from experience. He can't learn it from the Oracle that he is the all-powerful one, right?
That's right.
Well, can I, if you don't mind, I've got, I had like a little bit of an excerpt I wanted to read from the Matrix 4, from the, when Neo finally gets to the Oracle, because keep in mind, this was written 11 years ago. It's just a small piece. You don't mind, do you, Sophia?
No, please.
Oh, okay.
I want both of y'all to let them know, since 2010, 11 years. Copyright.
This is wild. So I just wanted to read this because this stood out to me, and I was like, there was actually a few little things here. Let's see, this one. This is the Oracle speaking to Neo. You should think freely without fear holding you back. It is the only way. Sometimes making the right choices can help you to disconnect. Once someone is aware of the Matrix, then they have the ability to wake up from the dream. And I've been seeing this a lot lately with people sort of being presented with a choice, right? And it's like if they can push it under the rug and say, you know what, this ain't my problem. I'm not going to worry with this. I'm just going to, just do my job. Or if they're going to take a stand, taking a stand will actually wake them up to more and more of what's going on. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that, because they have to wake up. Remember when the Oracle told Neo, wake up?
Right.
He and Trinity woke up from a dream they were having. So, look, Matrix 3, which is Revolution, was done 18 years ago. And do you know, when I talked to the fans, they were like, oh, my God, you mean the last Matrix movie was 18 years ago? I said, yeah. Are you guys, this is 2021.
That's a generation, yeah.
Yeah, it was. There are people who have grown up. There was babies or not even born in 2003 and just grown up and just now discovering the Matrix. And I've been feeding the fans, which all creators do. All creators, whether Tesla was still alive, Leonardo da Vinci was still alive, or anybody, Goya, any of them, they will be still doing their work. Even if Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson or Prince was still alive, they would still be eclipsing their work.
Okay, so that's important. The Matrix for the Evolution. Let's talk about that some more from what Shane just read. I'm not going to do any spoilers for people who are going to buy it and read it, but there is this feeling that it's always a dream, Sophia. No matter what happens, nothing is permanent. Are you talking about the fact that the soul lives forever, that the soul goes on forever, so there's never an end?
That's right. It does go. The binary codes, the 1 and the 0 of the machines. Look, the alpha is the 1, the 9 is the omega, which is supposed to be the end. But look, the 0 is infinity, 2 little zeros, one sitting on top of another one, 8, 8, 8, 8, and whether it's vertically or horizontally, the atom, atom, not the Adama, not a man, but the atom, atom, goes in every direction forever, meaning life is forever and there is no end. The moment someone is dying, someone is being birthed. The moment someone is being born, someone is dying. But it is a continuous cycle that's ongoing forever.
Then how do we get out of the matrix so that we don't see illusion and we don't participate in the illusion?
The matrix is nothing but coming out of spells and programs. Programming that you were programmed from the moment you came out of the womb, the matrix. The matrix is a 7,000-year-old Latin word for the woman's womb. The difference between a man and a woman is a womb, not the vagina and the penis. Only the woman can have a baby. Only the woman has a stargate, a portal to bring babies into this world. No Dr. Frankenstein can create a womb. No Dr. Frankenstein can create a feeding tube called the umbilical cord, or breast milk, or estrogen to expand the womb for 9 months or 36 weeks while the body transportation is growing inside of the woman to come into this physical dimension called Earth.
Mm-hmm. They're trying, though. I mean, I read stories about this bio milk and artificial wombs. It's like they're trying.
It's impossible. They cannot replace the penis. If you cut off the penis, you cut off the seeds. That is the end of civilization. If every woman disappeared from the earth would die. And the earth will never die because life will never end.
So I don't know if you follow Dolores Cannon, but we have a lot of her followers here in our community. And she always kind of through hypnosis, QHHT, got this information from thousands of people over 40 years that the earth is about to split into two, that's how dimensions of earth are created. And one dimension is going to go very AI and android, and the other dimension of earth is going to stay organic. Can you talk about that a little bit, about the splitting off, and talk about the tares and the rapture, separating the tares from the wheat?
I'm going to tell you something very deep. The only thing on earth that is going to disappear are the people coming and going. If you go back to Babylon and Rome and Mesopotamia and Pompeii and Sumer, all of these civilizations have collapsed, been wiped out. And the earth has never, ever been destroyed, never, ever been separated. No, it's in perfect order. The earth is in perfect order. The sun, the moon, the water, the air, the elements, they're all in perfect union and order to regulate whether you're here or not. And it doesn't need any help from any of you here on earth at all. Sorry, spoiler, but the earth doesn't need any help. The deal is this: you're coming here, and when you become corrupted and you start having sex with kids and animals and trying to reproduce hybrids, a a horse with wings, a horse with, called Pegasus, a horse with a horn in his head called a unicorn, a giant with an eye in the middle of his head, a cyclops, a miniature, a bull head in a man's body. This is why the earth opened up and swallowed the dinosaurs. This is why the flood came and took all of these monsters away. Every civilization has come to that point. Every civilization. Go back in history. The Mayans, the Aztecs.
The Romans, the Greeks, the ancient Egyptians. Do you believe they were the Atlanteans? Do you think the Atlanteans went east and west?
All of them. They went right under the sea. They're right under the sea.
Is that where we're headed now, Sophia? Are we going too far with science?
You're headed for collapse. You're headed for a civilization that's going to collapse and be wiped off the face of the earth, and a new civilization called the cleansing will occur.
Will that include humans?
That's right. And start all over again fresh, just like every one of them. Go back in history.
Does that mean they have to go back to caveman, like reinvent the wheel and fire?
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Every civilization that came upon the earth was different. And as they progressed, they became more advanced. No one ever goes back. Darwin is a lie. If you came from a monkey, then the monkey should be more advanced than you.
Yeah.
The monkey is still not talking and you're talking. How can you come from something that has not advanced? Everything on earth advances into greater. It doesn't go backwards.
Well, sometimes I feel like our politicians are monkey men and monkey women. I really do. I feel like, oh my God.
Politicians are monkeys because they're telling you a polite lie. That's what politics are, polite lies. Mm-hmm. Because they'll promise you the whole world and the earth, but when they get into office, they got a puppeteer that is controlling them. And now when you come to them and you say, hey, you made me all these promises. You promised that you would save my house. You promised that the government would give me this and give me that. And they'll tell you, you know what? I'm busy. Write your congressman. I'm busy. Write your senator. I'm busy. Go talk to your president. Go write a letter over here, there. They're just pawning you off from one organization to another organization. Because guess what? All they could give you was a lot of lies. And when they get in office, they got to do what the puppet master tells them to do.
Well, when will humanity outgrow the need of a puppet master? Because we don't see it as left-right here. We don't think, oh, the left is good, the right is good. We see both of them playing a role, you know?
Listen to me carefully. They're never going to give up on that. It all started back in the period of time when they did not want God, in which they don't believe God exists, and they did not want God to lead them anymore. They told God they wanted a king, they wanted a man to lead them and guide them. And God told them that the man would make concubines, whores out of your daughters, and put your sons in the military and kill them, make soldiers out of them. They are you. They fall short of the glory of God. They're fallible. They're going to fall. They're not infallible. They're going to fall. And they still wanted man. And this is what you got. You got your czars, you got your queens, you got your sheikhs, you got your presidents, you got all of these titles. And these are the people that you chose to lead you. And
except all those people secretly report to the bankers. They report to the money men, the men who control the economies. And you know the Rothschilds print 95% of all world currencies. And they run the World Bank and the IMF. So all those leaders that we think are in control, they're just on strings to the real masters. The real puppet masters are the people who control the money. But I've been told that's not even the bankers. There are secret families right now alive, and they're not in the news. We don't know their names, and they control the bankers, and the bankers control world government. What do you think of that?
That's absolutely the truth. But if you go into the Bible clearly tells you in the future, Revelations, if you can decipher the Bible, that let me tell you, people try to read the Bible literally as if you're reading a book. It doesn't work like that. The Bible is divided up into past, present, and future time travel. When you look at the Old Testament, that's the past. That's what happened before that you need to learn from. And when you look at the New Testament, we're talking about the laws, and Jesus is presenting, this is the present, right here, right now, what's going on with you right here, right now, and how you can avoid it and how you can keep from being destroyed by it. And when you look at Revelations, that's the future. It's hard to decipher, but it's a little bit, and this is where you're going now. When you look at Revelations, you're going to get the mark of the beast. You don't have to take the mark, because the mark says that you won't be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast.
So what happens to those who don't take the mark?
God always gives you a way out. God always gives man a way out. So even he himself will not take your free will. If you let somebody give you fear, which is false evidence appearing as real, that's all fear is, false evidence appearing real. If you go in that arena, that's your problem, because if you are afraid, and those who are afraid of losing whatever little bit they got have already lost it. And those who give their lives already have saved their lives. Because it works totally different on polarity. Not duality, polarity. Duality is deception, duping, duplicity. Bi means two. There are no two things going on here. God says there can only be one, and that's good. And if you believe that and you lead your life that way, that's all you're going to get here until you die is good.
Are we going to get there as a group, or do we have to leave here to get to the good?
There are no groups. There are no groups.
I mean, collective humanity. Is all of humanity going to get there?
No, listen to me. There is no collective humanity. You came out of the womb by yourself, naked. And when you leave here, you're leaving by yourself naked. Came here for a purpose, to do something. You didn't come here to do something with somebody else. You didn't come here as a team. There's no teamwork. No, it's about you being the example. If you want things to change, then change yourself. It's about the man in the mirror. It's about you. If you want to make a change, then change yourself, and others will look at you and make the change. That's how changes come about. Not teaching, not telling, not leading somebody someplace. No, it's all about free will. It's all about what you came to do and what kind of contribution did you leave here? Was your name known for good or bad? Because it's about you. It's not about others. It's not about what's happening to others, because some things might be happening because of the glory of God. Ain't got nothing to do with you and your choices of free will. Either you believe that there is only good, or you go in the opposite direction and believe in evil. Because look, there's nothing but living, L-I-V-E. What is evil? Going backwards. Take that word L-I-V-E and go backwards. It's E-V-I-L. So evil is going in the wrong direction. It's going in the wrong direction, is believing the wrong things, and it's supporting and upholding the wrong things.
Okay, so I got to ask you now, because Jane and I debate this all the time for like 3 or 4 years now, and we're both on the fence with both sides. We see both sides. Do you get away from evil by closing your eyes to it and saying it doesn't exist? Or do you participate with those who are trying to change it, like stop pedophilia, like not allow, some of the movies now for children and cartoons are outrageous. And there are people who will look away and they think they're stopping it, and they might be. And there are people who will go out and literally protest until those things are taken down. Which way gets you to the point of no more evil?
It's the serenity prayer. It is what the serenity prayer was all about. You correcting the things that you can change, and stuff that goes beyond you, that's out of your capacity, out of your hands. Evil that is so blatant, so horrible, that you have to put it in the hands of God. And you got to be wise enough to know the difference. that, hey, this is above my pay grade. I can't do nothing about it but put it in the hands of God. I can only do what I can do. If the soil needs to be cleared of insects and animals, and it needs to be uh, done and raked and shoveled and stuff, and I'm plant the food that needs to be planted, and I've done all the things like a shepherd. But now there's a hurricane coming, there's a tornado coming, there's some other evil coming, but it's beyond me. I put that in God's hands because I can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the wisdom and knowledge to know what I can change and what I cannot change. People get into trouble and they die because of a lack of knowledge. And over the pyramids, it says, know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Because people die here on the earth because of a lack of knowledge. Every day. There's only one battery propelling the car. Open up the car and look. It has a negative charge and a positive charge because it's clearly teaching you how energy flows in this world. It goes forward and it goes backwards, and nothing else happening here. Either you're going forward with good or you're going backwards with evil. Either you're uplifting, creating, and adding to and multiplying like God does, or you're subtracting and dividing, division, and tearing down and destroying. There is nothing else going on here.
And a lot of times, to dovetail with what you're saying, Sophia, a lot of times people can get caught up in other people's stories and it sort of pull them down. And this kind of takes me to the next oracle excerpt I wanted to read right here because it's totally going. Go ahead.
I want to say that. Okay. That's what happened with Chicken Little. When Chicken Little ran around and said, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Everybody got involved with Chicken Little's story. The sky fell on him and them. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. So you need to be paying attention to where someone is leading you, because that's where all these Jim Jones and Colts and all of that stuff. Now go right ahead, Shane.
Yeah,
I have to put that in so people will know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this comes from the Matrix for you guys, linked below. And this is the Oracle talking to Neo. And she says, you can only show somebody the door. You must make the decision to walk through it. You will find the knowledge, the inspiration, and the opportunity that will lead you to the right perception to crack the code of the machines. The spirit will always exist. And man, that just went with what you were saying so perfectly, because it is our own story. And at the end of the day, sometimes we can get pulled away into other people's drama that actually pulls us down and pulls us the wrong direction into being more evil towards people and out of love, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, because it's all about choices. That's what free will is. Your choice, your free will to make a good decision or a bad decision takes you where you're going to go or where you're going to end up. It's like you're at the fork of the road. If I go right, I'm going to end up over here. If I go left, I'm going to end up there. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
So I do. But I see the other side too. In your own story, your life sets an example for others. When Hollywood stole your story and made these phenomenal movies based on your ideas and work, you could have said, you know what? Those people are too powerful for me to fight. I can't go there because they're huge, they're powerful, they have money, they've got, the support of the FBI, you said, right? But you were the David and Goliath story. You were the hero who steps into the ring that they don't think they can necessarily win, and they put up the good fight anyway. That's kind of where I'm talking about too, that some people feel like now is the time to go into the ring and stand up for human rights, medical rights, freedom, and stop tyranny before it gets too powerful. But then there's other people, which I totally agree with, that says that's way out of my league. I cannot stop tyranny from spreading over the entire earth. So you're kind of saying do what you can do, but you're also showing us the hero's path when you go and stand up against somebody as powerful.
Well, they're like the tornado. They're like the tornado in her analogy, right? Well, to where you're giving it to God if it is a monster that's out of your control.
Everyone is created equal. Everyone is not created equal here. You know, there are some people who are very powerful and they can deal with powers. But there are some people who are not very powerful and they can only deal with what they can deal with. They don't have strong minds. They don't have strong bodies. They don't have strong, deep pockets with money and all kinds of situations. But even if you contributed 2 cents, that 2 cents, like that lady who gave 2 cents, she gave more than anybody that gave $10,000 and $20,000. That 2 cents was given from her heart.
Because that's all she had.
That's
Yeah.
right. The fact that it was all she had, but the fact that it came from her heart was monumental, meaning that the energy behind it, the power behind it was astronomical, because that's called faith. Faith can move mountains. It can do the most extraordinary things, like David. David went up against Goliath. Even his brothers, who were some of the strongest warriors, brave warriors, would not go up against Goliath. Whole armies would not go up against him. But God chose David because he knew David's heart. He chose me to deliver his message with the Matrix and Terminator because he knew my heart. He knew Sophia's heart. And I'm Sophia, who he named wisdom, philosophy, pi, the ratio of all numbers, 314.
Yeah, I think many of our listeners know that in the Gnostic texts, Sophia is earth, Sophia is wisdom.
And not only that, but Sophia, which is wisdom, is greater than diamonds and pearls, because the money are illusions, the power is influence. But at the end of the day, wisdom is greater than all the things upon the earth, because with knowledge, you can make the greatest changes. That's why it's told to go to school, read this book, go learn under this mentor, go get you a sensei, a master, a teacher, like the Tibetans. You see what I'm talking about? The Tibetan monks, the Dalai Lama, the Pope. The knowledge, it is knowledge that changes everything.
So do you see a happy future right now in the direction we're headed? Do you see a good outcome?
Of course. Of course I see good, because I believe in living, living, living life. Yes, it's good. If you dwell on the negative, that's all you're going to see is negativity. If you dwell in the negative, that's all your mind is going to create here. We are co-creators with God. So as above, so is below. If we visualize creating the most phenomenal invention in the world that can heal and help man, and we see it in the spiritual realm, it will materialize in the physical world. And if you dwell on the negative and you don't see any good, then that's the world you're going to be locked in, and that's the world you're going to suffer in, because you are what you create. And all you have to do is change your minds and change your setting and dwell in the good, in the positive, and see and look around and see what kind of changes you can heal and help humanity, that you can make it better for others. It's not about self or selfish, it's about others.
So it's almost the opposite. Like it's like we spend our life trying to change others instead of ourselves, and then trying to help ourselves instead of others. Everything's kind of turned on its head, isn't it?
Right. You don't help others by giving to them and crippling them and making them dependent. You help others by teaching a man how to fish, so he can go out and fish for himself and take care of his family.
Instead of giving him a bushel full of fish, yeah.
So if we're talking about individual stories, are we all sort of the Neo of our own story? Is that sort of the message?
That's what the message is. You are a Neo of your own story, because look, by giving a man money, you cripple him. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll teach others how to fish. And everyone will be self-sufficient and start creating things that can help and heal. Mm-hmm. But making a man dependent makes him ashamed. Mm-hmm. He's ashamed. He's begging. No man came upon the earth to beg. There is wealth for everyone. All people should be wealthy and happy and healing and healed. No one should be under anybody's foot. or above anybody here. We're one.
Mm-hmm.
That is one collective consciousness. And this is how you change the world, by changing yourself. This is what the late Michael Jackson's son, The Man in the Mirror. Go pull up the lyrics and read the lyrics. And Whitney Houston's The Greatest. Go pull up the lyrics and read the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love,
Definitely.
greatest love. Self-love, to love yourself. Because if you can love yourself, you can love others.
Mm-hmm.
But you not loving yourself, well, you'll never love anyone else.
Absolutely.
So,
In other words, you wait 1 second. You have to give love in order to receive love.
Mm-hmm.
If you never give any love, you'll never receive love.
so true.
Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy was going to see the wizard, the government, because she needed a home. And the scarecrow, he needed a brain. And the Tin Man needed a heart. And the lion, he needed courage. Well, if your ass get into a fight, you're going to find out if you are a coward or you have courage. Until you get into a fight, I don't care who you are. Till you get into a fight, you will not know who you are, if you're going to be a coward or courage. That's the moment you're going to find out. And the Tin Man, he wanted a heart. Well, you have to give in order to receive. You have to give your heart to someone. And whoever doesn't reject it, doesn't matter. It'll come back like a boomerang from someone else. And the scarecrow, a brain. If you don't use what you got, you'll never know if you have a brain or not until you use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. And Dorothy, she found out the most powerful message of all. There is no government, no wizard, no warlocks, nothing here can give you a home, because home is inside of you. Wherever you lay your head will be your home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of our listeners are completely on board with all of this, with, the manifesting your world through your expectations and your focus, and through what you give to others creates the world around you, really, really into what you're sharing here with us today.
Yes, because you must not dwell on the negative, but the positive. Because the positive is the only thing that's real. The negative are nothing but programs and illusions to get you and take your free will from you. To wrestle the greatest, greater what's inside of you, which is your free will. Look what it says in scripture. Greater what's inside of you than what's outside of you. What's outside of you are the illusions, the ignorance, and the lies. But what's inside of you is your home. It's real. And it's so great that all of this will disappear. All the lies, ignorance, and illusion will disappear once you acknowledge who you are inside.
What's interesting, though, is that you and Neo focused on the negative by fighting Hollywood and by fighting Agent Smith. So sometimes we do get the double message that we can we close our eyes to everything around us and then say, well, now I have perfection. I have a perfect world because I'm not even looking at the negative. You obviously were willing to take on Hollywood, which is definitely looking at the negative.
Yeah, but I wasn't taking on Hollywood. I was trying to make an example out of Hollywood so they could stop stealing from you and other people, the universal you. I was trying to protect and help people to take a stand instead of letting them buy you out. Look, they offered me money. I didn't have no fight with them. They offered me $5-7 million, $30 million for the script, the shooting script of the fourth installment. No, I took a stand to show others that they could take this stand and that they don't have to let people steal from them. They don't have to let people do any kind of thing to them. And they don't have to be afraid, because the truth is greater than the lie, which is an illusion.
And also Morpheus and Trinity and Neo keep going into the Matrix to fight the Matrix instead of staying out of the Matrix and creating a more peaceful world outside of the Matrix. They go in to wake people up. They go in and fight Agent Smith in the Matrix to help others wake up.
As an example of love, and that we can conquer everything with love. Without love, you're nothing but a sounding board. Without love, you will never have any happiness or peace upon the earth. Love is the greatest of all gifts, and love sets you free. It opens all the doors, it breaks all the records, it stops evil from even crossing your threshold. Because evil can only get you if it can make you lie, kill, and steal and become a part of its energy. Negativity. If you dwell in the negative, evil is going to always have a grip on you. It's going to
So is
provide.
that the Matrix 5? Is that where Matrix 5 would go, where they wouldn't even look at the Matrix or go into it anymore? And they'd say, anybody trapped in the Matrix, it's up to them now to get themselves out. We're done with it. We're going to live in a state of love together, and we're not going back in. We're not going back in for the battle or the fight, the good fight.
At the end, it gives the most powerful message in the book, and I'm not going to reveal that because I want people to see it. But at the end, in the fourth installment, it gives the greatest message when Neo fight the most dominant artificial intelligence of all, the AI. Then the message to the world is right there at the end, and people need to see it.
No, I'm not going to give it away either, because I think a lot of people are going to go and read The Matrix 4, which is available on Amazon worldwide.
Yes, you don't want, and people out there that want audio books, don't worry. You can get the ebooks on my website, matrixterminator.com. You can get an app that will just read the book for you.
Cool.
They're out there now for people who want to do audio. Get the ebook from my website and get the app, and it'll play it for you for audio people. So we got ebooks, we got physical books. You can get autographed copies of the book. Everything is available, but you need to read the fourth installment. If you love The Matrix and Terminator,
yeah,
you need to see where it's all going and this greatest message. And
absolutely.
again, read it again because it's layered. Every time you go in, you're going to see something you did not see before. Every time you go in, you're going to read something your mind wasn't there because it's layered like the Bible. So every time you go in, it's going to be something special waiting waiting for you.
That's what's so amazing about your story, is that it never goes away. So many different treatments of that story over and over again. And actually, we're kind of living it out in the real world, not just in Hollywood.
Yes. We are
It's
living
interesting.
the end times of Revelations. We're living in the times of the Matrix. And the Matrix and the Terminator, the message of God, is the greatest message that have reached global capacity. You know that God is involved because it's impossible for a work like that to be iconic unless some force was behind it.
Well, let me ask you then, should we be waking people up? Because we're in the Mandela Effect community, this channel. We're also in the spiritual community and the consciousness and new thought community. And we're like, should we wake people up to some of these reality shifts, or should we let them sleep until they wake themselves up?
No. Listen. And I'm talking about the universal you. I'm not talking about you and Shane personally. And when I say you should do whatever you can do. You should do whatever gift was given you to make changes here for others. It is, like I said before, it's not about self, which is selfish. It is about healing and helping the globe, providing something that others need. You got to look around and you say, wow, oh man, Hershey came out with Hershey chocolate. And look at that chocolate. It heals the world. It's delicious. And look, another person thought about a safety pin that used to be used for diapers and other things. And another person thought about a chair. And there's another person thought about a car and a plane and a train. Look at all the things that you can invent. And look on TV at all the new inventions that are cropping up, whether it's for entertainment, whether it's for healing, whether it's just to give entertainment, like for, fun. Or look at the new flat screen televisions that are coming out. When back in the day we had the bulky heavy stuff. Look, there are all kinds of stuff that you can create that can heal people.
That's a beautiful message. I
I'm
think that's coming through in the Matrix 4 as well. That message is pretty strong.
And the new generation, I think, coming through, that's huge.
Yes, I'm saying use your free will to make changes that are going to help the multitude, not just you. See, this is the deal. Most people say, I want to be rich and famous, but all they're thinking about is I, the word I, or me. Well, rich and famous has nothing to do with I and me unless you work for the cabal and they're slaving you out. Do you see what I'm talking about? But
yeah,
if you
definitely
work for God, then you think about others. You're like, God, I want to create a machine that heals and clean out the blood without taking the blood out of the body and purifying it and putting it back in. I want to create a machine that just zaps bad things automatically in the body. As soon as you put on the machine on or get inside the machine, it just cleans the whole system out. You can invent that. You can create that. We don't have it. You look around and you see something we do not have. You look around and you think about something, wow, if man had that, they would be phenomenal. They would be healed. They would be helped. They could elevate. That's what I'm talking about.
Then there's always hope. There's always hope because
look, if
there's so many. I mean, we're just creative beings. We just love creating.
Yeah, but look right now. You can create something right now, any of you out there, that can get rid of the coronavirus. Did you hear what I said? Anybody right now can create something, a machine, whether it's a pill, whether it's an herb, a spice, a mineral, an amino acid. You can create something, a nutrient, that can destroy the coronavirus and wipe the plague out.
Yep.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Come on. And then look at that. That person's name is known. That person changed many people's lives. That person's name go down in the history book. So-and-so and so-and-so came up with a machine that healed and cleared out corona out of the virus, out of the body, or created a machine that cleansed the air in every room that will wipe out the virus. The virus cannot even come into a room without this machine turned on in the buildings. This machine, one machine, a little machine, turn it on, put it with the air condition, and filters out the whole casinos and buildings and hospitals. Clear the virus out where you don't have to wear any mask anymore. Come on. If you can dream it and you can think it, you can create it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No limits.
That's where it always starts. It always starts in the mind.
It starts in the mind with a perfect vision, and then God gives you the rest, the inspiration to create it in the physical. Mm-hmm. That's how every architect, when he saw and he dreamt of a bridge, he thought about the numbers. How strong should the cables be in order when the wind comes where that bridge can swing and not break? How many cars can get on this bridge at the same time and the bridge will carry the weight of it? Do you see what I'm saying? Whatever you can think and dream in your mind and see it with perfect vision and hold that vision will materialize in the physical. All you have to do is want it. Want it for others and not yourself.
Yep.
This is the key to manifestation. Manifestation is to manifest for others and not yourself.
I've read that the universe gets behind people. Remember Lynn McTaggart, The Power of 8 chain? Yeah. The universe really gets behind people who manifest for others. It just gives it more oomph, more power.
That's right. It doesn't help those who are thinking about, well, I'm going to invent this and become a millionaire. I'm going to go and write a book and become a $1 billion seller. It doesn't work like that. I told people. They call me every day, fans. I want to be rich and famous. And I say, then think of something for others. Because you're not rich and famous if you think about yourself, because no selfish deed is rewarded. I'm sorry. I got to wake you up here out of the matrix, unplug you out of the programs and the illusions.
Should we help others see like the Mandela effect and the changes in reality that kind of make them go, oh, how did that happen? Do you really, and tell us what you think about the Mandela effect, Sophia?
The Mandela effect was the same as the butterfly effect, the butterflies effect. That time travel and deja vu is all mixed up now because probably during Project X, Philadelphia experiment, they left something in the past. If you leave something in the past when you time travel, it is going to confuse the future and make everything whack, meaning that everything has already happened and you're just catching up with reality and seeing it as it goes along. And basically, God has said that everything has already happened, but it takes a minute for you to catch up with that happening. That's all the butterfly effect and the Mandela effect is talking about. That hey, are we going forward or are we going backwards? How is the past mixed with the present? What's going on? I can't tell if I'm in the present or I'm in the future or I'm in the past.
Interesting.
Deja
What
vu.
what do you think about string theory? Do you think the Mandela effect proves string theory and multiple dimensions and multiple timelines?
Everyone experiences different things. That could be true for some people, but not for everyone. Everyone is living and existing in a world of their own, and they're creating by their thought processes. So if your thoughts are geared towards the string or the Mandela, that's where you're going to be living. That's where you're going to be dwelling. And the other ones, look upon the earth right now. There are people that are busting with health and they're happy and they're wealthy and they're going on about their business and they live in those worlds. Then there's people who are suffering from drugs and alcohol and all kinds of things happening to them, tragedies and bad stuff and mental illness and poverty and sickness. When you uplift your mind and you will change your whole procession here on earth. Whatever man think it, so shall it be.
That's interesting because Cynthia C. Larson, who wrote Quantum Jumping, and she's a physicist, told us that they are studying at the University of Edinburgh and at Berkeley whether or not each person has their own reality bubble. Each person has a separate reality that we kind of bump into each other and share a few things, but we don't share it all. So that's what they're studying now, is what you just kind of explained to us about each person creating their own reality based on their projections into reality.
Yes, because if you dwell in the negative and you dwell in a certain way, that is the world you're creating, and that's the world you're going to be living in. And other people are going to be living. You see people walking down the street talking to themselves. They're talking to themselves because they see other people. They see other dimensions. They're in another dimension, and they're not in this dimension. You see what I'm talking about? Because
I do.
They've with their minds, whether their minds were damaged by meds, damaged by a hit on the head, or other things, diseases or whatever, they're dwelling in other worlds, and they are in. They don't even know what's going on in the collective sense, and they're not affected by it. We all are dwelling in different worlds by what you create or someone has created for you. Because there are people who are creating for others also and pulling them in.
That's the hard part.
All
Being
about.
born here with amnesia into a system created by other people and just going along with it and going, oh, okay, I got to work from 9 to 5, 5 days a week. You just get born into the system and you just go along with it.
But you don't have to do that. You don't have to go along with anything. You have free will. You can Google and research and go into the archives. You can find out the truth by yourself. There's nothing stopping you. You're not paralyzed. Your legs are not cut off or your hands. But think about all the people who have these things that they wish they had. Why dwell on the negative when you have everything going for yourself where you can create now and do something wonderful for others besides just giving them food and water. That's
Mm-hmm.
the program. Why don't you step it up and do something greater? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
That,
something more creative and personal that means
yeah,
something to you outside of the system, outside of what you've been taught to do or told to do, told by
right.
others.
Because look at the others. They're all doing the same program. Well, if I feed this man, I'm going to feel good about myself. If I go over here and feed the poor and give them some food and all this and some blankets, I'm going to feel good about myself. No, you could do much more besides, like I told you, you need to help those people be self sufficient. Everybody's not on the streets and living in poverty because they don't have any money. Come on, that's a misconception. There were many people, I'm from New York City. There were many people found on benches, frozen to death with thousands and thousands of dollars on them, and they were homeless. There are many people out there that are wealthy and feel guilty about something. They're on the streets because they feel guilty. There are vets out there that get 3 or 4 thousand a month, disabled, but they are on the streets. There are many, many reasons why people are on the streets besides being hungry and homeless.
Interesting. That's I don't know. We immediately judge that and go, "Oh, that's really sad that they don't have to be on the streets." I do know that sometimes mental challenges are involved. You know, some people on the streets cannot care for themselves because they don't have the capacity.
Yeah, but many, many reasons why these people are on the streets. Well, if you remember in the Matrix 4 book, The Oracle, that's me, where I'm telling Neo a story. And I say, look at all these birds that come here to eat. They all have different stories. They're
Yes.
out
Yeah.
there for different reasons. Do you see what I'm talking about? But most people won't even grasp that. They judge all of them, judge the book by its cover. Let me feed these hungry people. They don't have no place to live. They never in their wildest dream would they even think that somebody would be out there because they wanted to be there. There was a man, he was a vet. He didn't want to pay any bills. And he was getting 3,000 a month. But he wanted to be homeless. And look at gang related with that movie Gang Related with Tupac and Jim Belushi. Dennis Quaid played a homeless man who cheated on his wife, and his wife and kids took off and got killed in a car accident. And he dropped out. He came from a wealthy family. He was a wealthy, successful surgeon, and nobody could find him. His wealthy family couldn't find him until one day he's in the news for this supposedly murder of this FBI agent, undercover FBI agent. And then they send James Earl Jones, who plays the blue chip lawyer, comes in and get him off. But he was on the streets not because he needed money. He was drinking. He was an alcoholic, and the guilt was
Although, if you
up.
look now, there are homeless camps all over Venice Beach, and those are families, and a lot of Portland, and I think it's happening in Chicago, based on the lockdown, people losing either their family businesses. There's a lot of families on the street now.
Exactly.
Um,
But this is what I'm saying. If you do an interview of these people and find out what the circumstances are, then you really can help them. If you build houses, like the little homes, the little
yeah, the
houses,
tiny homes.
the tiny homes, there's all kinds of stuff that you can create to get these people off the streets, but you have to interview them. Because what good is it to get somebody off the streets and they want to be on the streets and they abandon the place you gave them?
And create the work for them so that they can get themselves off the streets. You
That's
know, I'm talking about the new homeless, the
Let's
new
get this right.
trend.
Let me give a good example. In Vegas right now, I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. In Vegas right now, the Cosmopolitan needs 300 people to come in and work. All these different companies, little companies, are shutting down because they could not get nobody to come in and work. Now, let's say we go out where the homeless is at Venice Beach and there's homeless in Vegas, and we interview them and they say, oh my God, if I could just get a job, if somebody could just give me money to get me some clothes. It don't have to be expensive clothes. You could go to a thrift store, a Goodwill, and get them dressed up and get them processed and go there and fill that job. Do you see? Because
Yeah.
there's people on the streets who want to work. There's people on the street that needs to be in a place.
You're talking about creative solutions instead of pity and handouts. You're talking about creative solutions to whatever problems pop up.
They're giving them the same thing. I'm going to go over there and give them some bottles of water, and I'm going to give them some food. That is not the solution. Yeah. After you fed them and gave them some water or drinks, they're ready to listen to you, because God says it in the Bible. If you go out and hand a man a blanket and some food, he's ready to listen to you and follow you wherever you tell him to go.
That's interesting.
I'm telling you, it's all in the Bible right there to be read. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah. Shane is really up on the Bible. I think you remember it a lot more than I do. I had to read it cover to cover for
I'm going to tell you something.
classes.
Blow your
but
mind.
I didn't remember it. Shane remembers it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. The Bible is written in your heart, in your mind. And you don't have to read any book. Do you hear what I just said?
I did.
The book is inside of you. When people would say to me, did you read that book? Did you write that book? I said, the book is inside of me. The book.
That's what April Lunsford always tells me. She says it's a living book and it is inside of you. And that means that the word of God can change, and not to freak out if some of the words have changed in the Bible. Don't worry about it.
That's right, because those people who altered stuff, they got an ending coming to them. And those who added and took away, they got an ending coming. But you are supposed to delve into things through spirit. Let your conscience be your guide. Let your heart dictate to you. That is the Bible, your heart, which is truth. Let truth dictate to you where you need to go, where you need to listen, who you need to listen, and what you need to do upon the earth. And you got it in your heart, sweetie. You have it in your heart. The Bible is right there in your heart and in your mind. And when you hear the truth, it penetrates your heart and your soul and your mind. So that means that no man, no matter what he writes upon the earth, can take you away from the truth.
So that's your gnosis. That's knowing. When you hear it, you know, you can sense whether it's true or not.
That's right. And you automatically know what to do once you listen to someone. Listen with your heart. Listen not just only with your head, but your heart. And listen to what's coming out of their mouths. And you will know what is needed to help them.
In that moment. In that moment, yeah.
That's right. Everybody that you elevate yourself. Every man that you take higher, you go higher. And when you tear down, you're tearing down yourself. And when you destroy someone, you're destroying yourself. When you lie to someone, you're going to get lied to. When you speak the truth is coming back to you. Because life and truth and love, everything is a boomerang, whether it's good or bad. You throw the boomerang, it might hit you in the head, or it might come right to your hand. Your head or your hand, you're the one that's aiming it. You're aiming it with either a lie or the truth. You get what you give.
I think that's a wonderful message to end this on, because, you know, I hope you'll come back. Will you come back and talk to us again in 6 months?
I will definitely come back, because I felt you guys' spirit. That's why I said right from the beginning, I'm coming back. And the message I gave today, many people are going to hear this message. It's going to blow up around the world. It's going to be astronomical, because I've given the most healing and phenomenal message to help people do what they need to do.
Yeah, especially now. Now.
I got to ask you, Sophia, what do you think exists outside of the Matrix? I mean, do you think there's some kind of base reality? What's your view on that?
I'm going to tell you what's outside of the Matrix. It's just like Chris Angel, Houdini, Copperfield, David Bland, those musicians. Because, look, if the elephant has disappeared and you put some rats up there, that elephant's going to stump those rats. And if you go up there, that plane did not disappear. The only thing that's outside of the real matrix is nothing but illusions. Either you're dealing in reality or you're dealing in illusions. And that's what mental illness is all about. Either you're in the real world or you're in the illusions. Don't you remember when Pharaoh thought he was the God upon the earth, and Moses came with the staff of truth? Do you remember in the 23rd Psalms? Even though I walk through the valleys of the shadows of death, I shall fear no evil, for thy rod and thy staff, it comfort me. And the Pharaoh's hands were crisscrossed, and they had the lightning rod, which is where the gun came from, and that's what you saw at Stargate. And the staff of truth. So when Moses came to the Pharaoh and he hit the staff of truth, it ate up the lies and the illusions. Because Pharaoh told him, hey, when Moses hit that staff, miracles performed. He performed miracles and all kind of real things came. And Pharaoh say, look, I got some soothsayers, I got some wizards and some warlocks and some, come over here, you guys. And what did they do? They performed illusions. And when Moses hit the staff, which is truth, ate up the lies. So you either dealing in truth or you're dealing in lies out there, which are illusions. And
does that mean that there is no place that is reality, that it's all illusion here and out there?
Wait a minute. If you want the illusions to leave, then the truth will eat it up. If someone is lying on you, all you have to do is continue to tell the truth, and the truth will eat up the lie. If someone is treating you bad, all you have to do is treat them good, because kindness, you can kill people with kindness. They will literally tell you, please stop being kind to me. It's killing me. And you really are, because the more evil they are and the more wicked and evil stuff they do to you, and you're doing with kindness and love, is killing them. And if somebody is persecuting you or prosecuting you, then you need to pray for them. Because did not Mandela, did not Gandhi, did not Geronimo Pratt, did they not come out of the jails? Did the jails not open up when they decided to pray? When they decided to pray to God, it was prayer that released them out of the prisons.
If you can pray for your perceived enemies, they need it more. Shane and I always say that the people who appear to be doing the most harm need the most prayers. That, the people who are the most powerful and yet not understanding how to serve others need your prayers.
Prayer is the most powerful forces in the universe. Prayer is so super that no two things can occupy the same space. That means if you don't put good and God in that space every day, chaos and evil is going to get in there and rock your world. If you think I'm joking, leave your space open and see what happens. If you go by day to day and you're like, question mark, like, what's going to happen today? If you leave that space open, you're going to find out, because that's the law. If you dig a hole, the law said it has to be filled. Go back, dig a hole in your backyard, go back and see. The law says it's going to be filled. It may be filled with water. It may be filled with sand, debris, trash, animals, birds. But it's going to be filled because that's the law. And the law says, like what I just told you, if you leave your space open, chaos and evil will come in. So fill your space every day with good, God, and prayer. Most of all, prayer, because once prayer gets in there, you're protected spiritually, and you can do everything you need to do without being harassed and bothered and problems.
That was an excellent message. And I want to give you the opportunity to, if you want to say a prayer or meditation with the group or to participate, or you don't have to either way, but I did want to give you that opportunity, Sophia.
Prayer, whenever you want me to come into that group, God gave me such a powerful prayer. People have heard me have asked for the prayer around the world. The water regimen and the prayer are super. The water regimen will scrub out your intestinal tract where all diseases come in and give you, your skin will be glowing and beautiful, and you'll be healthy like a baby coming out of the womb of the matrix. Perfect health. And the doctors don't tell you, they can't make any money off of water. So they're not going to tell you this secret, because What can they do? They can't charge your insurance for water.
Exactly.
Water.
Do you want to lead the group prayer? Because that's what we do here. We always end the show with something earth healing.
Well, there's a special prayer, but I just closed my computer down, and I can't say that prayer. But I mean, there's a special prayer that, oh my God, but I'm caught off guard. I need to.
Is it on your website?
No, it's not on my website. I got to put it on my website so people can go there and get it. Thank you for letting me know, because now I'll have my PR people that work for me to put it on my site and put the water regimen, so that way fans don't have to come to me. They can just go to my site. I can just direct them to the site and they can pull it off. But anyway, you guys can go ahead and lead the prayer this time. The next time I come, I'm going to be prepared with that prayer, and I will lead.
Oh, good. Awesome. That'll be part 2. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, that would be awesome. So I guess what we're going to do is what we always do here. We kind of follow the Lynn McTaggart Power of 8, which is a spoken meditation, which is a prayer. And everybody just adds their own creative love, feelings, visualizations to it. They do it their own way. So would you participate with us, Sophia?
Yes, I will. For
Oh,
sure.
awesome.
Okay,
What do you
so
think,
so
Shane?
Eileen, I guess you can lead it, Eileen, and we'll mute our microphones. And
What do you think, Shane? You want to pick a topic?
I don't know. I feel like moving forward in love, as really the topic that Sophia was most focused on, because you're either moving towards evil or towards love, and I think, to help heal the earth, love is really the answer to all of that. So
Yeah, love is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. And I will say a prayer right now. Heavenly Father, protect us from all evil. No problems, no tickets, no problems, just love. In the name of Jesus, I pray, amen. And that's
amen.
what
Amen.
I use when I get in my car. I ask for protection. I ask for no problems, no tickets, to give me favor and everything I do. Give me favor in the stores, give me favor coming out, give me favor in parking, give me favor when I speak. And I just say it in Jesus' name, I pray, amen.
Amen. The
So-
word favor is very important in the
Yeah.
Bible. Instead of bless, it's
Yes.
the favor of God. You are favored.
Yes, and when I ask for favor, I receive. I just
Mhm.
ask loud. You have to say it out loud and then let it go. You
I'm
don't
going to
want
use that. I'm going to do that today. We're going to talk about favor, and we're going to say it out loud. So, do you guys want to put screens off and sound off, Shane, or do I still do it because I'm not on Hangouts tonight?
Yeah, there's a camera button on your screen still, like usual.
Okay. Where I found it. You tell me if that worked. Did that work?
Yep.
And you can
Perfect.
still hear me. Thank you, Sophia. I'm going to use those words in our group prayer, our group meditation. So today we're just going to take one deep, relaxing breath in. We only need one. And we're going to really fill up our lungs. Feel your tummy go out and extend, and then exhale out every bit of that breath. Let go of any tension. Let go of everything. Really relax into the moment. We're here. It's now. We have Sophia with us as a special guest. And we're just going to breathe in through our hearts and exhale through our hearts. See that breath coming in through your heart center, and then exhale through the heart. And we're going to breathe in love and fill our bodies with that. And we're going to exhale forgiveness. And when you're ready, at a pace that feels comfortable, breathe in forgiveness. Fill your body up completely with that. And exhale love. Go ahead and send down a grounding cord if you like from your root chakra deep, deep, deep down into the center of the earth, right into the core, right into the heart of the earth, and let it spread out in all directions like the root of a tree, which is what you are to magnificent Mother Earth. You are an extension of Earth's thinking and loving and being. And we're just going to visualize, pray, meditate, create in our own special way the feelings of being completely loved, completely protected, and completely favored by God at all times. Not just now, but at all times. Feel it and see it in your future. Feel it and see it in your past. And it is already in the present. The present is all you have. There is no past. There is no future. You have now the complete love and favor of God. And we're going to go silent for just 3 minutes. And we're going to hold that with Jesus, with Buddha, if you are Buddhist, with Muhammad, if you are Islamic. We're going to hold that feeling of complete favor and love and forgiveness and safety because we are with God and we are of God. And we're going to do that for everybody, for all of humanity, for the entire planet, for all of the animals, the vegetation, for the minerals. We're going to hold that love and forgiveness for all on Earth for 3 minutes. Before you really open your eyes and start back into this matrix of reality of this shared program, this Earth where we are so lucky to be communicating together, just really, really appreciate the love that you bring in your own way to this place and know that we're all benefiting from it. We're all better off because of the love that you bring to this place, the matrix, the Earth, this reality that we call life. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on my screen now. Just feeling really grateful for all of you and for Sophia coming with us today for 2 hours and hanging out with us.
Yeah, and I want to remind you guys, if you're joining in late, that I do have Sophia's links down below in the description box just below the video. So make sure you go click and check out The Matrix 4 especially. But you can go all the way back and see she's been writing about this stuff since early 80s. So It's really all playing out now. Even the stuff that I was reading earlier is, 11 years old, and you can see how it fits so perfectly with what's unfolding right now. And there's so much more in the book, so please do pick that up. And you
and
will
the Third
enjoy it.
Eye too, just the original story. It's very it's short and concise, just the way I like it.
I can't wait to get back to the Matrix 4 because I'm totally into it. I'm like seeing everything and the characters, and it's so good to see it back again, And just so people know, 2 and 3 end up being a dream as we move into part 4. That's not really spoiling anything. It's kind of right in the beginning. So, it's like 1 happens, and then they have these dreams in 2 and 3, and then we move into 4. So it's very exciting. So thank you so much for joining us, Sophia. Oh, I think you're muted, actually. Yeah, you're muted.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I was muted because I don't want to, too much noise coming to,
Right.
And thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to part 2. And
Me too. Let's say like 6 months. Let's get through. That'll be 2022. Let's see what happens between now and then, guys.
Oh, yeah. We'll have lots to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Sending lots of love to you, Sophia. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. And thank you guys in the chat for joining us. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you.